All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this GCOR interviews ahead of the Singapore Grand Prix. And start with Chaconaz. Now, Singapore, your second race of the season, P4 in qualifying, P3 with fasting that weekend went for you.
Yeah, it was all right. I mean, quali pace was abysmal. We didn't know how slow we actually were in quali. Like, I gave it literally full beans, 110%. I gave everything. And it was only good enough for P4, so that was a really painful punch into reality. Um, the race, however, I feel like the race pace was a little bit better. But really, it was our strategy that let us down. On three occasions. We could have boxed, but we didn't. The first time being behind safety car when the track was drying, we decided to stay out. The second time we decided to box when Hurricane was going to stay out for the rest of the race. And then the third time, obviously, when Cyrex boxed, we were actually thinking about boxing, but we stayed out. But all we can do is learn. I mean, the car was much nicer to drive this time out than in Australia. And hopefully we can only go up from here. But those Alpines, man, they're quick. Hurricane right now is driving on on full cylinders. He's driving brilliantly. Cyrax, as you saw, got the race win. So, and don't forget the Ferraris as well. So I guess we only find out how, whether it was a false dawn or whether we can keep on improving in the next few races.
Yeah, thank you. Now we're going to move on to Sokofa. Obviously, pole position in Singapore. Broke the duct of not having a pole at this circuit, but then only P6 in the race. What happened in that race with your race pace or just incidents? And can you talk us through it and what you think could have been done to improve that result?
All right. Okay. So first of all, that pole lap, dear God, I was like, what, 7/10? That was some nice things. Team was pretty happy, and we had that incident at the start of the race. Obviously, tried to push my tires. Kind of did a little incident, but we got back for it, and I was just like, okay, we're gonna stick with the podium this race. And it was happening for most of it. I didn't really have a problem with strategy. Like tire wear was good. And then the stupid safety car came out. That last minute safety car. So I was planned to pit, and I don't know, something in the car like broke or something. My wheel just like kept me on track, so we lost it. And then restart goes by, lose positions. And then I get a little nudge from behind, which I did not like, but I will accept that it happened. And then, I got kind of killed at last corner. So hopeful that we didn't get a DNF, but I mean, kind of disappointing from like 7/10 to 6, to be honest.
Okay, thank you. Now on to Stolas. Obviously, your first weekend of GCR racing, P7 in quali, solid midfield performance, and then P4 in the race. How do you feel your first weekend went?
To be honest, I felt like it went kind of my way as I was just sitting back like I said I would, but then, of course, during the safety cars, I just went with what my mind said. But no, it's just on the final lap, one of the Red Bulls lost the front wing, so I just overtook.
Okay, thank you. Now, Coward. Obviously, we're going to move on to you next as the fourth person in this interview. Now, your luck at Singapore hasn't been the best in the last 3 seasons. What do you put that down to personally?
Well, wasn't well. Out of the first season, I was unlucky. Second season, got a good result, and in this season, well, I can't make excuses really, but I was recovering from a poor sleep schedule, and I was shattered off my bollocks. So, but yeah, that's about it.
Okay. Now we're going to move on to Sokofa again. Obviously, we're going to Saudi Arabia. That's what these interviews are for. Obviously, you didn't have the best quali last season at Saudi, but then you recovered in the sprint and then went on to win the race. Do you think that feat's repeatable again, but from a better qualifying position?
I'm gonna be real. Okay, so last Saudi, that was a great drive for me. This time, I don't know, because like with the track changes, there's actual curves on the track. I think a lot of people won't go for moves. anymore, which a lot of people's dumb moves kind of helped me last time. But I think quali I'll be okay. I haven't been able to do that much practice. I mean, Saudi's my favorite track. It's my best. I actually don't know if it's my best track this time in the skate. Like, a race pace, I don't know. I got the strategy. I got the race set up. As long as I don't spin myself out, we'll be fine.
Yeah, thank you. Now, Chick, obviously your Saudi Arabia last year was very up and down. P6 in quali, P4 in the sprint, and then P2 in the feature race. But obviously you did have those technical issues in the car that cost you potentially fighting for the win. Do you think you can go one better this year and win the race, or are you just still trying to figure out where you are this season?
Highly doubt it, boss. Highly doubt it. We're not at that stage right now where we can go into a race weekend having the confidence, having the belief, thinking that we can, be anywhere near fighting at the top. That's a sad truth and reality right now. Right now, all I just got to do is stay consistent, hope that the car can develop, hope that I can get used to the car, bring home good points for the team, and capitalize from others' mistakes, because we're nowhere near fighting for race wins right now, sadly. At Singapore, we showed a few, moments of, positive moments, such as the fastest lap. Obviously, that's just one lap in it. So, yeah, it's not looking good, but, I'll take what I can get, and we'll see.
Yeah, thank you. Now, Coward, onto your Singapore Grand Prix. Obviously, you had a really good quali last year, P3 behind Juan and Dino. Then you were involved in that three-way incident in the sprint and finished P7. And then you recovered up to P5 in the feature race. Do you think a feat like that's achievable again or better this year?
What, just like in general on like the future calendar?
No, just like, do you think that it's going to be possible to better your result from last season at Saudi Arabia of P5?
Oh, sorry. I was confused there. Well, this is probably the most practice I've done for a GCOR race. As you can see in the Alpine server, this is the most data gathering I've done in a while now. So, yeah, looks promising, definitely.
Okay, thank you. Stolas, obviously, are you racing this weekend at Saudi? And if so, how do you think you're going to do? Do you think you'll be top of the midfield again, or do you think you'll be higher up or back in the midfield order a bit?
I don't know if I'm going to be doing this race. I've got a bit going on, as I've had quite a bit going on this week, and it's quite an emotional week. If you say it's on my TikTok, but I've had quite an emotional week, as I've had one of my pets just pass on. So if I do race, don't expect much from me, as I've just not had the best week.
Okay. Well, we're sorry for your loss from everyone here at GCOR, and we hope that you can channel your emotions into good results throughout the rest of the season. Now, Chick, obviously, you've had two races. You are currently sat, let me have a look, P4 in the championship, 14 points off the championship leader Hurricane. And obviously, the GN7 team are down in P3, over 50 points behind Alpine and the constructors. Do you think that fighting for either of those titles is possible this season, or if one more than the other? Or do you think GN7 will sacrifice the drivers for the constructors or the other way around?
Did you just say 50 points? Jeez, I didn't think we were that far behind.
Yeah, the
Wow.
actual gap
50
is
points. Nah, that's crazy.
56 points, I think, off the constructors after 3 rounds.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, with GN7, right, we can do anything. At least that's what I believe. But it's gonna take a monumental turnaround. Fighting for both the championships, obviously drivers' championship individually. That's my aim every season. I know this season we're struggling a little bit, but as soon as your aim stops being, to become world champion to win races, that's when you got to stop being a racing driver. So my aim definitely is still to win the championship, but realistically speaking, I think, I mean, P4, that's fine, really. I mean, realistically speaking, I'm looking at it. Hurricane, as I said before, he's looking fast. Cyrax, he's looking quick. Obviously, he's just won his maiden Grand Prix. Dino, as always, looking quick, and that's not even including other guys like Coward and potentially Ozos, and even some of the new guys who have just joined the paddock, like smudging them lot. So if I finish fourth by the end of the season, I guess you could say I'll take it. But as it stands, both championships out the window. I'll be honest.
Okay, thank you. Now, Coward. Obviously, Cyrax won last time out in Singapore, and you were obviously in his seat in Australia. Do you think that if it was you in that Alpine, you would have been challenging for the win in Singapore? Obviously, we know it's a touchy subject for you after your ups and downs this season, but do you think it would have been possible for you to go for that win instead of Cyrax?
No, to be honest, it doesn't matter. To be honest, the car doesn't make a difference. To be honest, the reason why I was the one who crashed this weekend is you have to be on the limit to improve, and if you aren't on the limit, you just aren't going to learn car handling. So you need big balls to improve. Let's just say.
Right. Sokofa, obviously, do you think you're fighting for the championship this year? You're sat in P6, 24 points off the lead, and do you think the Red Bull team who are sat in P4, you having scored all their points this year, can fight for that top spot again like you did last year? Or do you think you're just going to try and recover to the best
I mean,
that you can?
okay, there's two worlds. There's a world that everything's perfect, where I would have kept my results, no DNF, no drop into P6. Low key, I'd be like solid top 4. But as it stands right now, as leader of Red Bull, trying to get used to the position, I think I'm doing a pretty decent job. I'm just trying to get my team to be okay. So I'm not really focused on a championship. I'm more so focused on getting more data through, playing the game, obviously spending a lot of time. So yeah, I don't see myself in championship picture.
Okay. Now, same sort of question for you. You're sat P7 in the right now, having scored Haas's best result of the season, with them also being sat in P6. Do you think you can push on and fight for the best of the rest spot and put Haas up into the top 5 this season?
I'm hoping I can do my best for Haas, as it's just my rookie season. But yes, I'm hoping I can try to get Haas up into P4 where I finish my first race, which I was celebrating for the past 2 days.
Right. Now, we're going to move on for the same question for all the drivers. I will repeat it so everyone gets it. But we're going to start with Chaconaz. Obviously, this season we've got a different calendar to last year in GCOR. But if there was one race that you could remove and one that you could add, what would that be for you personally? And it can be for any reason, and why?
Probably Saudi. I'll be honest. Like if we're going off last season's results and last season's experience, Saudi definitely was our worst weekend pace wise. As you said, I qualified P6, and the only reason I finished P2 is because obviously we had a massive pile up behind safety car. I took advantage of that. I had the lead, but then obviously I had those issues with the throttle not hitting 100%. But yeah, Saudi, I don't know what it is. I just struggle there. And I'd probably replace it with Monaco, actually. I do miss Monaco. I know it's quite biased because obviously last season I managed to get pole there and get the win. But, just the vibe around Monaco. Like, you got the beautiful yachts, you got obviously the principality, you got these beautiful women, you got everything, man. Like, winning around Monaco is just a dream come true. And yeah, I'd like to go back there,
Add one race to the calendar for this year and remove one. What would it be and why?
I would do the same and remove Saudi, as I'm also terrible there. But I would add Silverstone since it's my home Grand Prix.
I believe Silverstone is actually on this year's calendar. It missed out on last year. One from this season's calendar. What would it be and why?
I'd have to say Silverstone. There's just zero history to the track. I'd have to say that Zandvoort's just much more history to it. Just a better fan base and everything.
Okay, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. And now, Sokofa, obviously, what other track do you think you would add to the calendar and remove one to replace it with?
I mean, I got my wish. No more Mexico. I'm so glad that's gone. I'm okay. I'm gonna do two. I agree with the Monaco take. Monaco would be fun, but then we get into this part where there's a little bit too many street circuits. So then we got to think about getting rid of one. But like a normal track that I'd want to see is low key. If Spain was on schedule, Chef Kiss. That's low key tough. But I mean, I like most of the tracks. Besides Portugal and France, why do we still? I don't get it. Who wants it? France, very controversial last year, and Portugal, I literally lost the race because of a stupid curb. I hate both those tracks. They're my New Mexico. Get rid of them. Like any other track. Actually, no, I don't. I don't say any other track. Just give me Spain, Monaco. We
Okay.
good.
Okay, interesting. We all today on this GCOR interviews ahead of the ahead of the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. And thank you all for listening. And we hope to see you next week ahead of the preview for the Canadian Grand Prix.